In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, the one God to whom all praise is forever due. In the name of all of his servants, I greet you with the greeting words of peace. We say it in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. For those not familiar with these words, they simply mean peace be unto you. We've been called to Sacramento because peace has been broken. Peace is broken because the people have not known justice. There's a place in the Bible that shares us a scripture that says that justice stands afar off and equity cannot enter because truth is laying in the street. Standing on the stage with us are activists, leadership, concerned persons, many from the city of Oakland, California, which is reverberating today because our brother, Oscar Grant III, was gunned down for all of us to see on television. And when the district attorney had in his hand the authority to arrest and bring charges against a videotaped murderer, he said to us that whenever law enforcement is involved in a homicide, that they are not compelled to bring law enforcement authorities to the bar of justice with deliberate speed. He said that there is a special protocol that exists whenever law enforcement authorities are involved in a shooting. He did not fully describe it to us on that day. He left it to us to do our homework. And when we went home and did our homework, we discovered that the state of California and its legislators right here passed a special Bill of Rights for police officers. Now here, you and I believe that we're already protected by the Bill of Rights. And you and I are taught that law enforcement practitioners are paid to protect, to serve, and protect your and my rights. But they never told us that when law enforcement was developed in U.S. history, that the first police departments were formed to catch escaping slaves. And we wonder why 200 years later, it appears that when law enforcement departments approach the black, approach the brown, approach the red, approach the yellow, and engage even poor whites or anyone that seems to stand against the ruling powers of authority. Mayor Dellums, I watched him break down to tears because when he stood after no charges were brought against Officer Mesley of Bart for shooting our brother Oscar Grant III down, and he attempted to speak with our young, and some of those who were young cussed him out on the stage of the city hall. He didn't understand initially why he was being cussed, but we helped him to understand that the reason that he was cussed out is not because of what Ronald Dellums did. It's because the face of government that our young people know on the street is not the mayor, it's not the congressman, it's not the assemblyman. The face of government where the rubber meets the road are law enforcement officers in the streets that are brutalizing our people. So we come to demand change. the continued legislative process that gives right to law enforcement to brutalize our people without thorough investigation. To this day, the shooter of Oscar Grant III has yet to give a testimony even to BART as to why he shot our brother. Then he hires a slick lawyer who's working to have that trial moved out of Alameda County. So he offers public defense and names 17 witnesses. You know, in the hood, there's an unwritten policy about snitching. That if anybody heard that you might be a witness to a homicide, many voices are silent out of fear of retaliation. Why did Attorney Raines list the names of 17 witnesses? Some of those are already being threatened. This is why we must now demand a change in the way that police operate all over the state, and in fact, all over the country. Because as goes California, so goes the country. So I want to bring before you members of our delegation from the town hall in Oakland, California. We have with us one of our brothers where law enforcement helped to drive him out of successful and productive business. He's a community activist, a leader, and has utilized his abilities to ensure that justice is served wherever we live. I bring next our brother from the Oakland Black Caucus, Brother Geoffrey Pete.
Thank you. It's so wonderful to see you gathering today. History is replete with examples of us coming to Sacramento and we've been received not, but I'd like to thank our assembly person, Sandre Swanson, for receiving us. Yes. Sandre occupies the sacred William Byron Rumford seat. Mr. Rumford is responsible for Don't Shop Where You Don't Work. Phenomenal. Relative to 3 strikes, it's a cruel law, and to strike out Barry Bonds, that's some heavy lifting, or to strike out Joe Morgan or Frank Robinson or Willie Mays, if you can strike them out, that's some heavy lifting. But to strike out a shoeless, teamless, individuals without any gear, that's not a heavy lift. Right. So I'm standing with the coalition of individuals to say we got to repeal that law. Yes. Martin Luther King indicated that power is the ability to get a corporation as large as General Motors to say yes when it wants to say no. Right. And that's what we hear this afternoon. It's so wonderful to know that we even have cosmic companionship, as Martin Luther King said. The forces of nature will conspire with you if you have the unmitigated goal to stand up for what's right and what's just. And that's why we're here today. And I want to say thank you, and thank you, Assemblyman Swanson, for receiving us.
All right.
In our demand for justice, you should know that our brother Oscar did not suffer alone, which is why we declared the theme, I am Oscar Grant. And standing on stage with me is the father of one of Oscar's dear friends who laid by his side on the platform of Fruitvale Bar, whose sons were made to witness the horrific murder of their friend. And so I just want us to all reach out and show our love for Brother Jackie Bryson. Just give him a big round of applause. Brother Jack. Activists stood up all around the city. And we want to bring before you one of our brothers who stands in the tradition of the Black Panther Party. Please join me in receiving Brother Mandingo.
40 years ago, my forefathers and foresisters, including 16-year-old little Bobby Hutton, came in these exact building and demanded that they be heard. Here he is 40 years later, asking the same thing, that we be heard. And they going to hear us today. My slave number to the California Department of Corrections that I gave back to these slave masters in '98 was H61856. I know what it feels like to be in Pelican Bay Shoe 24 hours a day, having guards brutalizing you.